We all want to grow in our lives, don't we? We all want to find a way to progress, to be able to attain certain goals we have, attain certain milestones we want to achieve, find financial independence, find happiness, all those things. And oftentimes, what we get told is that the way to get to all those things is to be productive, to really hustle hard, and move as fast as you can. But what happens because of that is in many ways you can't sustain the speed. You feel burnt out. And more than anything else, you never truly feel satisfied. I know this because I went through this, right? For years, I was this person working 24/7, working 365 days a year, not taking a break, not focusing on my own health, my own self. And at some point of time, I moved from what was a fast growth and hustle mindset to a slow growth mindset. The day I moved from this to that, the way I looked at the world, the way I looked at my own growth, the way I looked at happiness, satisfaction, goals, everything changed. Kind of became a lot happier, became a lot more satisfied. Today I want to share 5 key takeaways I've had in this journey to really using slow growth to progress further. Welcome to Take a Pause with me, Varun Duggirala. And before we go into these 5 points, I want to make sure you hit subscribe, smash that bell icon. Okay, let's start now. Number 1, you can always get things done faster. What's more important is to focus on your stamina. How much can you get done in a day in a way that you don't wake up the next day feeling so exhausted that you can't do any work? How many are those hours? Start off small. Start off with a certain amount of hours for whatever goal you might have. For me, for instance, as a podcaster and creator, it was that, okay, let me try and do as much as I can in the initial days and my throat would dry out. As an entrepreneur, I've had days when you're doing 15-hour days and kind of moving with that. And the more you did that, the next day I used to wake up like, oh my God, I can't do this. And at a certain point of time, I realized if I do a focused 4 to 5 hours of work on each of these in a day, and give myself time to breathe beyond that, I actually had a lot more stamina. It's the difference between wanting to be a sprinter and a marathon runner. And life's a marathon. So always make sure that you have, in many ways or other, you are optimizing for energy and not for productivity. Because your energy is what drives you ahead. If you're going to be low on energy, you can't not just like get stuff done, you won't be able to do it right. So optimize for your energy, not productivity. Number 2, don't stress over the little things. Don't try to control everything. Our tendency as human beings is to try and control as many things as possible. If you're trying to kind of spread yourself thin and say, oh, I need to look at this, I need to look at that as well, you're not giving any one of those the kind of focus you need to give it. And again, you're substandard in each of those when you do that. Versus if you say, no, these are a few things which I'm focusing on right now. It's fine if other things don't go that well, but as long as this goes well, I know in the larger scheme of things, this is more important than everything else. You actually see this progressing in the right way. And in many ways, if you think about it, it's like holding on to like a fistful of sand. The more you try to clench into it, the more sand escapes from between your fingers. Just think of it that way. So don't try to control everything. And don't worry about many things kind of going wrong in the long term. Just focus on the broader things, the things which you know will have the most amount of impact. Number 3, focus on the process even if you don't see daily growth. Now, there are many days when we're going about doing what we're doing, when we don't see ourselves moving forward at all. It feels like we're stuck where we are. But if you stick to it, if you learn every single day and tweak things around, almost get the mind of a scientist in your head and really move with that thought process, even if you're staying still exactly where you are making progress. So trust the process and make sure that in the long term, you can look back and say, oh, I thought I was stuck, but I wasn't actually. I was actually moving forward. I felt like this for years. I think the midpoint of my entrepreneurial journey, the company was a certain level. We were kind of growing. I wasn't sure what I was doing. I wasn't sure where we were headed, but I stuck to doing what I was doing till one day we suddenly switched from being this tight-knit 50-60 member team to like 150 people and lots more clients and lots more happening. And it happened in a way that I was actually so much more centered when that happened, because I wasn't forcing myself on a daily basis or judging myself about where I really need to go. But I really just stuck to the process, saying this is what we have to do today. This is how we can move ahead in the long term. Number 4, focus on strengthening your strengths and not as much on working on your weaknesses. Because oftentimes what we do is we try to take our time and say, oh, this is the amount of time I'm spending on focusing on my weak points. Let me strengthen them up. What that does, it takes time away from the things you're really strong at, things you can truly grow with. And in doing that, you're not doing justice to your own innate natural abilities. You're also pulling yourself away for something from which you actually love to do. Like for me, I've always been a creative person, but I moved towards, no, I need to be better at operations, I need to be better at finance. I spent years focusing on that until eventually, when I found my own journey as a creator, I switched back to this and I felt so much more satisfied and I saw so much more progress, because I missed one crucial aspect of this, is that when you're focusing on just your strengths and growing those strengths and not as much on your weaknesses, you find people to partner with, you find team members, you find colleagues who work with you to fill in those weaknesses, because those are their strengths. And in many ways, what you can bring to the table are actually their weaknesses. You collectively grow, and there is no better way to grow than to grow with other people, because then you have someone to share it with and someone to kind of get that feeling of, oh my god, we're all moving ahead with this. Which, let's be honest, as much as we might want to do this for ourselves, there's never that much satisfaction if you're just doing it alone. Number 5, life is not a sequence of hard work followed by an eventual payout of happiness. It's not like, okay, I will work all this period of time and then eventually I will get happiness and I can retire and all that stuff. In many ways, you need to splatter your life on a daily basis with some things that keep you happy. They could be the tiniest of things. It could just be that chai break that you're taking. It could be just that call with a friend. It could be maybe you trying to learn how to play the guitar or doing anything else. But make sure on a daily basis you are adding things aren't really there for you to progress from a career standpoint or the work standpoint, but they're actually there to keep you happy on a daily basis. Because when you're happy, in many ways, you feel so much better. Your mind is happier, your heart is happier, and you grow better. Even if that growth on a daily basis might be 20-30% slower than if you were only focusing on the work, in the long term, you don't just make up, you actually move ahead from where that kind of work could actually lead you. It's actually something called the business detox, where you're detoxing yourself from being busy. And in doing that, you're cleansing your system and your mind and giving your mind the opportunity to kind of open up and flourish. And that makes you do so much more. These are just 5 things that I put down today. There's so many more, and I really want to keep sharing these pieces with you guys. But I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to know if this kind of gave you value. If there are more pieces like this that you'd be interested in, or is there something else that you want me to talk about? All this and more coming on Take a Pause with me, Varun Duggirala. So before we head out, I want to make sure you hit subscribe and smash that bell icon. And I'll see you guys next week.